Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I'm Lola. Today we bring you 5 tips and strategies for ISS Vanguard. So whether you're brand new to ISS Vanguard and looking for tips before you begin, or you've been playing for a while, we hope there is something that you can get from this list. Our number 1 most important tip is play all 4 sections, regardless of player count.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Safety in numbers.
Yes.
Misery loves company.
Yes. It is so much easier to play with all 4. So we play at 2. So we each have 2 sections that we control. And it works really, really nice. When you're out on a planet's surface, there are so many locations to go to. And there is so much to do. To be able to either spread out to accomplish more, or stick together in groups of 2, usually, so that then you can accomplish more. And that leads us, are we ready to move on?
Sure.
Because that leads us to our number 2 tip is don't forget to use your cards and assist all the time as much as you can.
Those cards are going to help you with your own powers and your own dice rolls, and then you can also use them when you're assisting other players to help them re-roll bad rolls or refresh dice, those kind of things. Really important, so you don't have to rest as much and use your supplies, or you don't have to exert and sacrifice a die to just get 5 dice back. So assist often.
Yes, and it can make a huge difference because every time you're doing things, you are using those dice. So when you're needing to re-roll multiple times on multiple turns to try to accomplish a location, it can really take a lot out of you. So if there's a couple of you there working on it, if you can assist and work together and do everything that you can to get it done within a timely manner, it can make the difference of failure and success. Yeah, because it really makes a big difference. So that's part of that, is put everything you can into important rolls. Don't be afraid to use those dice. If it needs 2 certain outcomes and you roll 2 dice to try to get those 2 outcomes, very often that's not going to be enough and you're relying too much on luck. If that is important to accomplish, or you need to accomplish it multiple times to advance the track, do it as much as you can in one turn so that you can advance it as far as you can within that turn. Because within most games, at the end of everybody's turn, you have events being pulled, and they are usually almost always dire. Always dire in some way or another. So the sooner you can accomplish what you're trying to do, the better. So number 3, focus on ranking up as much as you can. Really make those rank up goals happen and focus on this early. Try to get as many of your characters as you can into level 2 and especially level 3. And also use your successes to buy dice as often as you can. Yeah. Those dice are absolutely critical. The first few games were actually really tough because you don't have so much dice, and they're so critical for the game. So once you can buy more and you have rank 2s and rank 3s that can actually use the greater amount of dice, it makes the game so much smoother and hence more enjoyable.
But remember, you only have 2 rank 3s and 2 rank 2s. It's who you have in your rank 3. Now you can trade them out. You can always demote somebody and put somebody else into the rank 3 if you feel that they're a better character or better fit for your style of play. But you are limited in those upper levels.
And we've never done that. No. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of like a waste of resources to do that. So because you have to demote them, so that's something that's never really come up. Each one has their own special power, but it is helpful to be intentional on who you are ranking up based on, I really like their ability, I really like their charges that you get to use. It's really beneficial. I want to see this person rank up to level 3. And once you get those rank 2s and 3s, bring them on the missions. Don't bring those level 1s anymore. Once you've got a level 3, use them to rank up those level 1s to level 2 so they can actually be useful. Like, I have not brung a level 1 out onto a mission since I started getting the 2s and 3s. If you want to rank them up, use the barracks to rank them up with your level 3 at that point in time.
Yeah, and if you have the personnel files add-on, then making these people into veterans and getting a 2 different convert abilities on them is also fantastic, especially if they're also your level 3.
Yeah, really don't let those veteran files be neglected if you've got those, because they're really, really wonderful. To get those 2 convertibilities is fantastic later on in the game. Yeah. Number 4 is deal with your situations as they arise. Don't neglect them. If you keep up on them, they're easy to take care of. And this lets you stay in high morale.
Remember, when you pull the situation card at the beginning, you read the effect, but it doesn't take effect this game. It's going to affect you next game. So it's easy to weed out the ones that, that's going to not be such a big deal. We'll just leave that as we'll let it happen. Throw it into the awaiting envelope and it'll happen next game. Also, if you have enough crew to use, you're only taking 1 onto the planet, use your other ones to do the other abilities in each of those rooms, and maybe you can handle a second situation or even a third situation if you have 3 of them by putting your crew into the resting crew.
Keeping the high morale, which is what you do when you take care of your situations, is really great because you get that extra command token, which is essential for doing all the other things that you need to do on the ship each round. So you want to have those extra command tokens. And yeah, so we have always had high morale in our game, and so far it has never gone down. Knock on wood. And that leads us into number 5, which is multifaceted. So that is fill out your crew, visit those production complexes, get the technology started, get the technology moving. And that's where getting lots of crew will help you. Getting lots of level 1s, they can just be used as fodder to help move these things along, get those situations taken care of, and that will really help out your game.
Yeah, having those 4 level 1s that are available to you, filling them out with different convert abilities so that you've got a more diverse crew pool to pull from to use in the production complex to advance the production queue or the research queue, or even, like I said, just using them in the situation room to get rid of another situation that you might not want to face come at the start of the next game.
And one thing we want to say too is don't worry about finishing maps. You are not going to finish everything on a map. You're not going to get every discovery. You're not going to get every lead. And keep in mind, you can only take so many discoveries with you. So there's a certain amount of choosing what you're going to do and following your own story here. Now, there are a few times where you will need to go back, but if it's important, it is built into the game and it will tell you because it'll become an objective. So to kill that thing you need to kill, or to return back to explore that underwater cave, it will become an objective. And along with that, sometimes you're going to want to do that anyway because the games can be long. Sometimes they're 2 or 3 hours, which is great. And for me, 3 hours is kind of a sweet spot. But once it gets over that, I get listless. I don't like sitting for that long most of the time. And so by 3 hours, I'm like, okay, let's just kind of pull this together. So you have 2 options. You can just save the game as is and return, or you can actually finish that game, return your crew back to their ship and finish the end of that, and then just return back to the planet for your next game with brand new crew, fully refreshed. Now you have brand new supplies and so on and so forth, and we have done that and it's worked out quite well. So don't be afraid to do that. Like our last planet we played was 6 hours total, which we divided into 2 3-hour plays, and it worked really nicely.
Yeah. And if you come from a video game background like me and you are a completionist and like to get everything, those empty spots in your folders are going to drive you nuts. Maybe just have somebody else do the ship book and then you don't have to look at them.
Yeah, I can make little cards and draw little pretty pictures and put like little positive statements there for you. Like,
well, there you go.
You are awesome, and maybe that will help.
Do you really need this?
It's good life lessons. I would love to hear from you. Do you have any tips and tricks and strategies that you like to use in your games of ISS Vanguard? Share them down below and we would love to hear them as well. And so I'm not sure how far we are on our campaign. We're still plugging away at it, and I think we've gone quite far. And we will be getting the next amount within the second wave of shipping. So once that arrives, we'll have new content to work through. So there's still a lot more of the story to be told. Now, before we leave completely, I do want to bring up one last bit of advice. If you can get a hold of this, it is fantastic. Now, this is a dice tray, because one thing that we've had problems with is mixing up when we assist each of the dice from the different sections. Now, this was lent to us by Len Lindsay, who so generously offered it, because you can't purchase it anymore currently. It used to be on Etsy, and it is 3D printed. So as Sean demonstrated, these are magnetic and removable. You can put them inside. So if you do your main rolls, and say as you have different sections that assist, you can add it on, and it's really, really fantastic. So we want to thank Len Lindsay for offering us to borrow this, and I wanted to let you know, Len, that we've been really enjoying it with the rest of our campaign. So in any case, if anybody wants to try to make this and put it up on Etsy for everybody, it is fantastic.
Yeah, it really helps for those times where after you've done somebody's been taking their turn, and there's been a lot of rolls going on and people have been assisting, and then suddenly you find out that, hey, wait a minute, why do I have 14 dice? I'm only supposed to have 10 or 13.
We've totally done that. We've totally mixed up our dice between sections, and it's hard because then it's like, what did you have? Did you have an eyeball, or did you have a pickaxe? I don't know all the names for things, so I do that. I don't know. Did they have this? Did they have that? And yeah, so we've had mishaps with that. So this stops that from happening as long as you use it. So it's not a bad idea, or even do something else makeshift that's similar. Thank you so much for watching today.
If you've enjoyed this video, please support us by liking it and subscribing to our channel.
And as always,
happy gaming, folks.
See, you were like, these are gimpy hands. He cut off his finger the other day. Tip. I guess it wasn't the whole finger.
No, just the tip.
Just the tip. Dun, 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 dun. Hi.
Hi.
And that actually leads us to number 5, which is a little bit multi.
Multi-pass.
Multi-pass.
No, it's a multi-pass. Sorry, I'm totally flat-footed here. My.
Thank you so much for watching today.
If you enjoyed this video, I got mana.
Okay.
I've got it. My mind doesn't. We are two separate entities.